A former Plano kindergarten teacher on trial for molesting two of his 5-year-old students. Now, we cannot tell you some of the details because they are simply too graphic, but we will give you this warning that the subject matter we will cover is not for young ears. Fox 4's Natalie Solis joining us now with more. Natalie.
Heather, today's testimony included a recorded interview from one of those little girls, and we have court documents detailing the alleged abuse and Joseph Garbarini's perverse behavior.
Evidence laid out in court against 29-year-old Joseph Garbarini had some jurors recoiling in their seats. The alleged abuse happened last year in Garbarini's kindergarten class at Martha Hunt Elementary School in Murphy. One little girl told investigators it happened while other kids were in the room, multiple times. Garbarini, she said, would take her to the back and play the mommy and baby game, pretending to put diapers on her while touching her private parts. That little girl made an outcry. Garbarini was confronted by the director of Plano ISD Security. According to an affidavit from that conversation, the suspect stated that he has a bondage fetish and has a dungeon in his residence. Suspect further stated that he has an infantilism fetish. This entails the suspect wearing a diaper and soiling it. He indicated that he is attracted to this because of control issues. Garbarini also said he had a large dog cage at his Plano home he liked to be locked in. Investigators say he also liked to dress up like a princess and often recorded himself performing sex acts. Bonnie Boone lives next door to the home police searched, finding, among other things, waist-high piles of soiled diapers. The house has since been sold.
Didn't want to, interact with you or anything like that.
She says a woman and child lived with him at one time, but left suddenly, leaving all the children's items behind.
My first thought was, why didn't she take the furniture with her? That was my thought.
Garbarini denies any wrongdoing. His attorney says he's addicted to diapers, but that doesn't make him a criminal.
The things that were found in his home during the search warrant have absolutely nothing to do with child molestation. He has some serious sexual issues, but pedophilia is not one of them.
Natalie Solis, Fox 4 News.
Jury consultant Mary Griffitts joining us tonight. Mary, appreciate you being here. Okay, have you ever heard of something like this before, this sexual issues defense?
Absolutely, and it's one of those things where the defense has to kind of do this because this information is out there. And so what the defense needs to do, and what we heard from the defense lawyer, is point out to the jurors that just because he may be doing this perverse behavior at home doesn't make it a given that he's guilty of the crime he's accused of.
So because it's out there, the defense is saying, okay, listen, we own this, this is what's going on, but not a pedophile.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of like the embrace and face for the defense. We're going to take a look at this. It's out there. We need to address it for the jurors. We need to face it head on. But we also want to differentiate for the jurors that just because you may not agree with this or find it repulsive, is he guilty of a crime?
Well, listen, I mean, the jurors saw videotape that the accused made of himself. It was pretty graphic. We heard some of those jurors turned away. They didn't want to look at how did the jurors get graphic testimony like that out of their heads? I mean, how do they get away from that?
It is probably one of the hardest things. Most post-trial jury interviews that I've done, jurors remember these visuals. It's significant. Some of them cannot filter it out. Others may have an easier time of it. But for those jurors who can't, this will be a tough day for them to get over.
So is the defense essentially at this point sunk? I mean, is there something, I guess, so shocking that every time the jurors look at this, at what they saw, that videotape, and every time they look at the accused, I mean, that's going to continually go through their heads, right? I mean, what can the defense do at this point?
Absolutely, they can, but I think what you're seeing from the defense is sort of what they need to do. They need to say, hey, let's desensitize at least for the jurors. Let them see all of this bad information up front, and then say, you may not agree, you may find this repulsive and just disgusting, but does that mean that this particular person did this to two 5-year-old girls?
Well, you talked about the separation. What do then the attorneys look for in a juror? Because, Mary, I mean, as a mom, how do you separate that stuff? This guy, from what we are told from police and from this little girl, is that he played these mommy and baby games in school, and then you find all these diapers, soiled diapers, in this accused home. How do you separate that?
It is a tough call. It's why jury selection is often the most important part of any trial. The thing that I think what hopefully the defense has done is maybe has picked some people who maybe have a filter that's a little bit more desensitized. Maybe they picked people that maybe not necessarily were parents, because as what you just stated, as a parent, how you could look at some of these videos if you have young children, even older children, and not have that visual stay with you, that is a very, very tough thing to get over.
And we will keep following the trial. Mary Griffitts, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks.